Hey there, fellow Marvel fans. Welcome back to Yousaf Reacts. Today, we're diving into the epic adventure of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3. Get ready for a thrilling ride as we explore the latest installment of this beloved franchise. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the movie yet, you might want to come back after you do. Let's get started. Directed by James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 hit theaters in 2023, and it did not disappoint. This movie takes us on an emotional journey with our favorite band of misfits. So, let's break down the plot and highlight some of the best moments. The movie kicks off with the Guardians still reeling from the events of Avengers Endgame. Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, played by Pratt, is struggling with the loss of Gamora. The team is now based on nowhere, and we see them trying to establish a semblance of normalcy. Their peace is shattered when Warlock, played by Poulter, makes a dramatic entrance. He's been sent by the Sovereign to capture Rocket. This leads to an epic showdown, and we learn more about Rocket's backstory, including some emotional and heartbreaking revelations about his past. Rocket's character development is one of the standout aspects of this movie. We delve deep into his origins and see how he became the Rocket we know today. It's a mix of action, emotion, and some truly touching moments. Drax and Mantis provide some much-needed comic relief, as always, but they also have moments of growth. Drax, played by Bautista, shows a more compassionate side, and Mantis, portrayed by Klementieff, continues to evolve as a character. One of the major themes of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 is family. The Guardians have always been an unconventional family. But this movie really drives home the point that family is not just about blood relations. It's about the bonds we form with the people we choose to surround ourselves with. The climax of the movie is both thrilling and emotional. The Guardians face their toughest challenge yet, and the stakes are incredibly high. There are moments that will make you laugh, cry, and cheer. With everyone around him dead and Gamora's tragic demise in Avengers Infinity War 2018 etched on his mind, a broken Peter Quill drowns his sorrows in nowhere, the Guardians' headquarters. But life and time wait for no one. And as a devastating blow comes out of nowhere, leaving a dear friend incapacitated, the depressed Star-Lord must pull himself together to assemble his crew for one last life and death mission. This time, however, it seems the space defenders have bitten off more than they can chew. They say the third time's the charm. But with the dark past catching up with them, can the Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 thwart the sinister plans of an unstoppable intergalactic megalomaniac? Can they save the universe one more time? Peter is in depression ever since Gamora lost her memory from the last few years. At their new headquarters on Nowhere, the Guardians of the Galaxy are attacked by Warlock Poulter, a sovereign warrior created by High Priestess Aisha Elizabeth Debicki, who seeks to destroy them for stealing from her. Adam easily defeats Rocket, Mantis, Peter, Nebula, and Groot. Kraglin's arrows cannot pierce Adam's metallic skin. Even Drax is no match for Adam's strength and is subdued. After critically wounding Rocket Bradley Cooper, Adam is stabbed by Nebula Gillan and flees. The Guardians' med packs are useless at healing Rocket's wounds. Who has a kill switch embedded in him by Orgacorp, a company led by the high evolutionary Chukwudi Iwuji, Rocket's creator. The code on Rocket's kill switch is 89P13. The Guardians travel to Orgacorp's headquarters to find the switch's override code and save Rocket's life. Kraglin is left in charge of Nowhere with Cosmos, whom Kraglin considers an ugly dog. As Rocket lies unconscious, he recalls his past. He was found as a baby raccoon and was experimented on by the High Evolutionary, an alien cyborg scientist and CEO of Orgacorp specializing in creating hybrid creatures and Rocket's creator, seeking to forcibly enhance all living beings into a special race where he has been credited as creating the Animan, the Humanimals, the Hell Spawn, the Sovereign, the Zeronians, and the Star Children, to create an ideal society called Counter-Earth. Rocket befriended his fellow Batch 89 test subjects, the otter Lila Linda Cardellini, the walrus Teeths Asim Chaudhry, and the rabbit Floor Michaela Hoover. The High Evolutionary was impressed by Rocket's growing intelligence and used his insight to fix a defect in later humanimal batches, but planned to harvest Rocket's brain for further research and exterminate the obsolete Batch 89. The High Evolutionary shows Rocket how he has perfected programmed evolution. But for some reason, the evolved organisms are violent by nature. Rocket is able to point out specific changes to the evolutionary program that would help control the level of violence tendency in the evolved organisms. After making the suggested changes, the programmed evolution sequence works. The High Evolutionary is amazed that Rocket, from Batch 89, was able to figure this technology out, but could not figure out that Batch 89 was only an experiment and not meant for the new world he was building. Rocket attempted to free his friends, before the High Evolutionary killed Lila and mocked Rocket for showing grief over her death. Enraged, Rocket mauled the High Evolutionary's face, whose henchmen killed Teeths and Floor in the ensuing firefight. Rocket fled in a spaceship. Back in the present, Aisha is shown to be working for the High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary is livid with Aisha for knowing of 89P13's existence for several years without alerting him. High Evolutionary wants 89P13 returned to him. Else he promises to wipe out Aisha's entire sovereign race. The Ravagers are an interstellar criminal syndicate that specialize in thievery, trafficking and piracy. There were nearly 100 factions of Ravagers around the galaxy. Each faction has a captain of its own, leading their operations. Including an alternate version of Gamora. Zoe Saldana helped the Guardians infiltrate Orgacorp. Peter tries to get Gamora to remember their life together, but she says that it was some future version of her, and not her who fell in love with Peter. Gamora also points out that the things Peter loves, it sounds like he is in love with Nebula. Orgacorp is completely made of organic material. Gamora gets them in via a decompression chamber, but the group is soon discovered. They retrieve Rocket's file and fight off Orgacorp sentries to be picked up Groot, who flies in with their spaceship. The group discover that the code to override the kill switch was removed, with the likely culprit being Thiel Nico Santos, one of the High Evolutionary's advisors. High Evolutionary has used Orgacorp to fund his experiments that lie outside intergalactic law. The Guardians, along with Gamora, depart for Counter-Earth to find him. Gamora argues that this is a trap since the High Evolutionary is looking for Rocket and they are taking him straight to the High Evolutionary. Gamora signals the Ravagers to pick her up, but her communication is intercepted by Aisha, who follows the Guardians with Adam. The Guardians reach Counter-Earth and are guided to the Elite Laboratories complex. Drax, Dave Bautista and Mantis Palm Klementieff remain with Gamora and Rocket, while Peter Quill, Chris Pratt, Groot, Vin Diesel, and Nebula travel to Elite. Nebula is forced to wait outside the complex by guards as she is armed. Quill and Groot enter Elite to meet the High Evolutionary, while Drax tricks Mantis into pursuing Quill's group. As Quill's group is engaged in banter by the High Evolutionary, he launches an attack by his guards on Quill's ship to retrieve Rocket. Gamora saves Rocket from being captured by Adam and the High Evolutionary's guard War Pig Judy Greer. Adam kills War Pig as he wanted to present Rocket to the High Evolutionary and save the Sovereign. Questioned by Quill, the High Evolutionary admits this version Counter-Earth society is imperfect. So he bombards the planet, killing the humanimals as well as Aisha. This enrages Adam, who considered Adam as his mother. Adam's ship is destroyed and he has no option but to take shelter with Gamora. Elite departs as a spaceship, with Nebula, Drax and Mantis boarding it to rescue Quill and Groot, who instead escape Elite with Thiel, who they kill before retrieving the code from his corpse and being rescued by Gamora in their ship. As Quill's group uses the code, Rocket flatlines and has a near-death experience, in which he reunites with Lila, Teeths, and Floor. He learns from Lila that his time has not yet come. as Quill uses the code to disable the kill switch and restart Rocket's heart. Drax, Nebula, and Mantis encounter several genetically modified humanoid children on Arete before being captured by the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary wants Peter to bring Rocket to him in exchange for the captured trio. Peter contacts Kraglin on the Knower to help. The High Evolutionary tells his advisors that in thousands of generations that he created, only one experiment led to true intelligence, and that was Rocket, which is studying him is critical. The other Guardians stage a rescue, leading to a battle against the High Evolutionary's forces. Kraglin Sean Gunn fires on Arete with Knower, dooming Arete. Kraglin and Cosmos then help to save Knower's citizens from a counterattack by the High Evolutionary's Hellspawn. Cosmos is revealed to have telekinetic abilities. Intent on retreat, the High Evolutionary's crew mutiny only to be killed by their leader. Drax, Nebula, and Mantis befriend three monstrous obelisks to escape and reunite with Quill's group. The Guardians delay leaving Arete, choosing to rescue the children created by the High Evolutionary, who escape to Knower via a tunnel constructed by Cosmos telekinesis. Rocket discovers imprisoned animals on the ship before being confronted by the High Evolutionary, whom the other Guardians defeat. Rocket spares the High Evolutionary, and the Guardians help the animals escape to Knower. Quill nearly dies trying to cross over, but is saved by Adam, who was saved from Arete by Groot, as everyone deserves a second chance. In the end, Quill decides to leave the Guardians, naming Rocket as captain, and travels to Earth to reunite with Jason Greg Henry, his grandfather. Mantis embarks on a journey of self-discovery with the obelisks. Gamora rejoins the Ravagers, and Nebula and Drax remain on Knower to raise the rescued children. In a mid-credits scene, the new Guardians, consisting of Rocket, Groot, Kraglin, Cosmo, Adam, Phyla, one of the rescued children, and Adam's pet Blurp, take on a new mission. There is no God. That's why I stepped in. I have to admit, this is one of the best lines ever spoken by a supervillain. It concisely captures their whole reason for being. Seems like that would have been a perfect thing for Thanos to say. Oddly though, for once there's no real backstory for the High Evolutionary, as there usually is for Marvel villains, but that might have been just too much material. Quite appropriately, all the attention is really on our scruffy, argumentative, and lovable heroes, the Guardians. I liked that all of them, this time around, get their well-deserved fair share of screen time. And if doing that means sitting through a pretty long movie, then fine. Mantis and Nebula in particular are better characters than they were before. Quill and Gamora and Drax are as good as ever, and the choice to make Rocket and his very extended backstory the mainspring of the plot was clever, and by the end, it carried real weight. Rocket is now elevated to a tragic, substantial figure at practically the same level as Spider-Man, and that's saying a lot. The whole Guardians series owes director James Gunn big time. And it's a shame to see him move on, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he'll be able to do over at DC. He set in motion a group of characters that really worked, and this third installment builds very effectively on top of its predecessors. Going into the theater, I knew what I expected out of them, but we got more than that. That's a big compliment. At the same time, what was done with Warlock and High Evolutionary was kind of odd in the end. I was disappointed that Warlock especially was kind of trivialized. He's capable of becoming a major character if they would just follow the path set out in the original comics. That one criticism aside, this is still one of the MCU's best, and we can thank them for letting James Gunn do what he had in mind. Overall, Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 is a fantastic addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It balances humor, action, and emotion perfectly. The characters we've grown to love are given the spotlight they deserve, and the story wraps up in a satisfying way. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out. And if you have, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you enjoy Rocket's backstory? What did you think of Adam Warlock? Let's discuss. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep rocking with the Guardians.